if we're going to be successful, if we're going to progress our life forward, we got to stop playing away games. Stop taking our talent to perform in front of people that love to watch us perform, but secretly want us to lose. And number 2, create an internal scoreboard, because you can be winning and not know it. So what for you tells you whether you've scored, whether you've won.
What's up, man? It's your boy, Coach Crump, here with my boy, Chizzy.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on?
You already know what it is, man.
Right,
it's the Boy Man King podcast where the journey continues. And, man, we got a special guest. I need some sound effects, applause effects. I need all that energy. So we got to give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, the Florida boy himself, Mr. Green Money. Go get your bag. Marcus Y. Rosier. Give it up.
Yo, that was a crazy intro, right?
Listen, I need you to call me everywhere I go. And I'm just saying, I'm not coming out.
Be a hype man. Cross got hype you up.
Listen. I'm sitting there like, who are you talking about? Somebody else?
Talking about me?
Hey, listen, man. It's just to bring everybody in. Marcus and I connected, man, and it's just been a great bond. And I was trying to be like, what is it, man? It's Florida, man.
Yeah,
Some Florida boys, man, and just the man of God. You know what I mean? The man who's out not only adding value, but still trying to build value in yourself. And we was at Change Church. I think we was at the Preachers Academy, where Darius and Keon was putting on an event. But I had seen him before, just then. And I was like, yo, where I know you from? He was like, man, I don't know. and literally from that, we just been in contact like on a regular basis, just building as men. And it kind of led to a great lunch we had last week. We were just poured into each other, man, had a great vibe. And I was like, yo, pull up. He was like, bet, I'm there. So here we are, man. As much as you got a lot of clout in the culture and on social media, what this always impressed me about men who are successful, right? You are successful.
Wow, thank you.
Is men who are better in private than they are on Instagram.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because I don't rock with people like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know how we rock, Chizzy.
for sure.
So it's like if you ain't, I wouldn't even. So
crazy.
I'm literally bringing him in our inner circle in my world because of the type of man that he is. All that other stuff is for everybody else.
Right.
I really could care less. But really, man, I just want to say, man, respect, salute to you as the type of man that you are, bro.
Brother, same here. Yeah. I'm not just saying that, and you know, once you build your life, you know, you get one of the things that success is relative, right? One of the things success does is it removes all those things where I ain't got to say nothing on me. I ain't got to be nowhere I don't want to be. I own all my time, right?
Yeah.
So like when we make time to have lunch, et cetera, it's because like you coming to meet me for lunch, me coming to meet you for lunch. That's our way of honoring each other because of how we feel about our time. You're married, kids, et cetera. So like that's when we really know. Like, yo, it ain't an exchange. It ain't no play. It ain't, you know, behind. Neither one of us even thought to pull out our phone, nothing. We just chopping it up, kicking it, man. And from day one, the moment we connected, you added value. You gave me some strategy in terms of relationship and time management. And like, bro, that's the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. Because you got a team, like kind of give more context to our audience about what you're managing right now, what you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, so I got a few companies. My main company everyone knows me for is our education and coaching company. It is called Win the Day Marketing Group, but the brand of it that people know is the MOB, Monetize Online Business Blueprint. So we work with coaches and entrepreneurs literally to take their ideas and the things they have in their mind and build it out into an entire online coaching and education company. So that's from creating their course and coaching program, funnels, operations, systems, to be able to work less than 7 days a month and create a stress-free multi-million-dollar education and coaching company. So there's about 20-something people on that staff, operations, editing. Like it's a lot of coaches, a lot of moving pieces with it.
Sure. I mean, you talking about DeMarcus now. We're going to get a little bit into how you developed as a youngster, where you grew up growing up in Florida, what that looked like. Yeah. Because we see the polished man of God now. Because I'm pretty sure at some point, when it first started, Marcus was a little different growing up. Just tell us a little bit about what life was like in Florida, what part of Florida.
Yeah.
So our viewers can know a little bit about Marcus and how we got to this journey of kingship and, what you're endeavoring to do with your
Man, so I'm from Panama City, Florida.
Panama
now,
City.
most people don't know that. I say it's like Alabama with water, right? So people know South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Sure. People know Central Florida, Orlando. They know
shout out.
They know Tampa,
Waha,
Lakeland,
you know what I'm
right? So
saying?
you got Florida is 3 different states.
Come on, it is.
right?
It is.
South Florida, Central Florida. I'm Northwest Florida.
Northwest Florida.
So I grew up 30-something minutes from Alabama.
Okay.
Right? So I can get to Dothan, Alabama in 30 minutes. About an hour from Mississippi, but we're on the beach. Beautiful water, beautiful sand. You know Destin, right?
Yeah.
So it's very country. It's very rural. Like we're talking about not a lot of money, not a lot of opportunity. Very small city, right? So that gives you some context. Every person, this is no exaggeration, every person I grew up with in my neighborhood has been to prison except me. Prison and or jail. In that small city, now you asked me the polished part, as far as entrepreneurship, let's go all the way back.
Yeah.
The neighborhood I'm from is called Lynn Haven, but I grew up, bro, and before I knew what entrepreneurship was, y'all might not know this because y'all not country like me.
I mean, I'm from Bermuda, so that's the country in and of itself.
Let me tell you how country it is. I don't know if you all remember when they used to sell cologne that wasn't cologne. They would say inspired by. So it'd be the knockoff version of cologne.
Okay.
No, that's deep. I done had some knockoff. I done had the NK for Nike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the cologne that was the cologne.
That's like
Bro, you
90%
could go.
alcohol.
You could go to the gas station. Let's say how you make Creed or YSL. It would say inspired by YSL.
Wow, the finesse
disclaimer.
ministry. That is the finesse
Bro,
ministry through
this is
and
back
through.
when do-rags was popular.
Okay.
Nelly, everybody else. So you had the half red, half.
Yeah.
Bro, before I knew what entrepreneurship was, I was selling the frozen Kool-Aid cups. I was selling.
Oh yeah, we call them flips. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, 25 cents, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get that Kool-Aid, freeze it, put in a little white little star cone, then get the edges to flip it upside down.
Man,
Listen, bro, that was some good
You
southern
guys
eating
are
right there.
skilling me today. I don't know what
we
you're talking
call them frozen cups. So like when people say, "How long you been in entrepreneurship?" Before I knew what it was,
Right.
I was doing that. I was.
How
doing
much you sold your flips for?
25 cents.
Okay,
25
okay.
cents.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
that's standard.
Yeah, that's standard. You know what I'm saying? But
going
all
right.
it was a little white styrofoam cups of Kool-Aid,
Frozen.
and you just pour like 20 of them and put them in your freezer.
And then you just sell them
And you
like
just
that.
sell them in the neighborhood
Yeah.
for 25
So a
cents
little
a piece.
popsicle, little frozen popsicle sitting in a cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like
okay.
the
ghetto version.
Because the sugar's at the bottom though, you get the edge real quick so you can flip it. Is that what we call it? Flips. So you could suck on the bottom of it. That's where all the sugar was.
Right.
Bro. I mean, when you think about that, right? Like my mother and father are pastors, were and still are. So like I always gravitated to the church moms would go and make food after church.
Yeah, come on now.
They was always the one that watched us because my parents was pastors. I remember going to Sam's and Costco and asking my mom for $10, $15, or $20, and I would buy candy and sell it because the pastors got food, but the pastors' kids didn't.
Hustle from young.
So like I had a candy store.
The kids didn't eat?
Nah, man. Like you know how that go. You know,
Jesus.
I wanted at the time. Only reason I wanted to be a pastor because you can drink and eat in church. You know, they bring the water and all that to the pulpit.
Right.
Oh
Right,
man,
right.
So,
that
like,
is true.
That's like my upbringing is everything from I grew up, and here's the way I describe it to people. I feel like I grew up like Denzel and Preacher's Wife and American Gangster at the same time.
Okay.
Because my father felt like I had a calling on my life.
What you do, but go ahead.
Right. But at the time, though, you get like if you can communicate, they always felt like you're a preacher. Well, now the world is bigger than that. You can do more than preach. You're called to more places than church. But he recognized that on me and a few other young men and invited and said, this Saturday, you guys are going to come to the church. And they were going to teach us like junior deacons and how to put messages together. Well, that Friday night, the cops swept through the neighborhood and kicked in doors and arrested a lot of guys in the neighborhood. So the homies in the neighborhood was like, y'all little young crabs or young shouties got a
How
hold
old
of
were
the
you at
neighborhood.
this time? What do you think?
Maybe 11, 12, around that critical age where you're trying to figure out yourself, self-discovery. So I'm feeling, you feel different. You don't realize you got something different about the way you communicate and move. You just being you. That morning, I go to the neighborhood and they teach us how to bag up weed, cook crack, all that kind of stuff. That afternoon, hey, I gotta go. I got to meet my dad to go to the church line to put a sermon together.
Yeah.
So imagine navigating these two totally
different
different
worlds.
dynamics
Sure.
at 11, 12 years old, and it shaped what became who I was, right? So jokes that land in church or jokes that land in the streets when they shooting dice and we playing ball at the park don't land at church. Ooh, I'm gonna tell your mama. Right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to navigate and code switch at 11 and 12, and you're trying to figure out what part is me. Like one part of me loves God, honors God. Another part of me loves the streets. And you're trying to navigate. One neighborhood rules say wait until you're married. Another neighborhood say how many you smash.
How many you got on your belt?
Right? So like you're 11, 12, and you enjoy being celebrated and embraced in this neighborhood, in this environment, celebrated and embraced here. And that manifested itself throughout the years, man. So like I graduated, like that's the entrepreneurship. That's the journey, trying to navigate this space in my neighborhood. They call me Money Mark. Right? I was young, did a lot fast, bought my first house by the time I was 19.
Okay.
Escalade back with the high I'm living BT days. So like that, navigating those things and trying to figure out who are you beyond a persona, beyond an image.
Come on.
I feel like I lost myself.
Right.
I was David Rosier and Bernadette Rosier's son. My parents had churches all over the world, Germany, Switzerland, you name it. So over here, I'm celebrated for being that. Over here, I'm celebrated for being Money Mark or the ball player or wherever you are. So it wasn't until late 20s, early 30s that I really realized, like, man, I'm none of those things. Those are titles.
Yeah,
placed
but
on.
I know for me, when I was in that space, man, you brought me back to some Florida ways, man.
Yeah.
Man, I love it, man. It's so crazy the similarities, man, from the South. But I know when I was dealing with being in church and trying to be that and being in the streets and trying to be that, I had an aha my freshman year in high school. So I'm curious, you said 20s or 30s, but what was like that aha moment that I'm not only neither this or that, but this is who I'm going to be, regardless of what other people think. Like, I had a moment. Now, I didn't build up the skill set yet. I didn't build up the maturity yet. I didn't build up the communication skill yet. But the moment hit me where I knew, like, you think it's funny that I go embarrass my mother by stealing and getting arrested and got to take my mom to juvenile jury duties for 7 straight weeks, and we got to go through medical detectives, and my mom was going there with her Sunday dress, like shamed all get out. You think that's funny? That's a big joke from all y'all. And that's when I realized, like, I'm going through this thing, just navigating it, and then when that happened and they laughed in my face in school in front of the girls, you know how it is, like, I'm a big joke. All of this is a big joke. Bro, this ain't no joke for me.
Sure.
Like, what was that for you? Or was there something like that where, like, okay, yes, I'm preaching, yes, teaching, deacon, yes, I'm in the streets, I'm money. You know, he said money.
Money Mark.
Money Mark. Between Money Mark and the PK, like, when did it say, you know what, I'm neither of those, I'm me? Like, was it a moment? Was it something that happened?
Yeah, it wasn't until my 20s. Like, my life is very weird, man. I don't want to call it weird. I say unique. I graduated high school 15-ish, turning 16. So I was away moving into college very young. Sure. Like I did everything early. You know what I'm saying? So by 16, I'm in college. Tore my ACL. By 19, I'm full steam entrepreneurship, cleaning company in Panama City Beach. I'm doing parties and club promotion for Club La Vila, Spinnaker, Latitude, you know what I'm saying? I'm buying my first house by 19. So it's like you get what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that happens really fast. Right. By late 20s, man, recession hit and I started back selling drugs really just to maintain my credit score. And that sounds weird for somebody to care about that. But like my father was big on pay your bills, don't owe nobody. So my moment came. I remember like it was yesterday. It's crazy. You know what? You good, man. I have not visited this kind of stuff in my mind in a very long time. So this it feels good. Like I just got to say that. I am by my parents' church sign. I will say a few names. Some of my partners was in the car with me. We on the way to a strip club called the Toy Box.
Come on.
We leaving from this, and anybody of my friends that watched it, they'll know we leaving from Callaway. We're about to go to St. Andrews, and then we going to the beach, right? And we get pulled over by the paper mill in Bay Harbor. My parents' church is right there, and a cop pulls us over. And one of my friends, I didn't know that he had a warrant out for his arrest. He had just bucked where he got sentenced and ran out of the courtroom. So all of us sitting there drinking. I got my gun in the car, which mine was licensed. Drugs, all of them, most of them on papers. I'm not. and the cops pull us over, search the car.
You was driving?
Yeah, I'm driving. We drinking. Everybody pour their liquor on the carpet in the car.
Right.
You know,
Jeez.
on down the line, and we think nothing's in the car. They pull everybody out of the vehicle. One of my friends' stuff crack in the seat and take off running. I have no clue it's in the back seat.
Right.
So when cops ask to search the car, I'm like, all right, cool. I got a gun in the trunk, blah, 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 blah. When they search it, they find the crack on down the line. So at this point, he takes off running. They got all of our IDs. And this is the moment. Cop gets ready to put me in the car. He comes over to me and say, who are you?
Come on.
Who are you? I was like, Marcus. That's how I look. I'm at Marcus. I was like, who are you? I was like, Marcus Rosier. I think that he believes I got a fake ID. So I'm like, Marcus Rosier, I gave you my ID. No. He said, this don't seem like you.
Right.
He's like, listening to them and talking to them and hearing you seem articulate, respectful. Yeah. You know, sir, yes, sir. You're not, yeah. You're saying yes.
Conflicting.
Yeah, he was like, this isn't you. He said, I'm going to do something. And I'm in the backseat of the car at this point. He said, I'm going to let you out, but you got to leave them here. He said, you know what? I want you to change your life, young man. Go to this church. The church he's pointing at, my parents' church. My parents' church side. Go to this church right here, and I eventually want you to get out of this city. He's like, I can tell something different about you, young man. So I'm going to let you out. He lets me out. He uncuffs me, and he literally does not allow me to let my friends that get back in the car. Now, one of them he took to jail because it was a violation of probation. They wasn't even supposed to be around each other. The other one he let stay, and the other one took off running. And I had to leave him there and couldn't let him ride with me. That was one of those moments that set with me, man. Set with me.
That's God, bro.
Yeah.
From then on.
How old are you exactly?
I'm probably like 25 at this point. 24, 25. Yeah, 24, 25.
And you lived in your neighborhood this whole time up until this point, basically.
At this point, I'm living in my house, and I grew up in Lynn Haven. I'm living in St. Andrews.
But the same area, though.
Yeah, right? It's probably like 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away. Yeah. So I'm right there. I'm a wild boy. I done turned my garage into a nightclub with strip pole and game room. Like I'm living. I got a motorcycle, an Escalade, cars. I got a house. I'm moving, but I'm so empty and so lost. I'm buying Ed Hardy and Coogee, and I thought it was ugly, and I'm wearing it just for people to tell me, "Boy, you look sharp." I'm like, man, this whole thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't generous, or the best way I wasn't successful. I just had money, and it took me a long time to realize they wasn't the same. Didn't know who I was very unhappy, and I was buying my friends. I was paying for attention. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's easy to reflect on their spaces now because you're a different man, you're in a different space. In the moment, what was that? Do you remember what it felt like to be conflicted? Because you got the PK. My father's a pastor as well.
Wow.
Entire life. So
We
I know
all
what
crazy.
it feels
We
like.
all
to
crazy.
I never did a whole street thing, of course, but I was still like, yo, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. I know the influence my parents had on me. I know where I grew up in the church, but I was still doing this.
Yeah.
Do you remember feeling conflicted? Do you remember feeling like, even in the lowest of this low, when you're sitting in that car and that police ever talking to you saying, I know full well I shouldn't have been down there. I know I should be doing this because my dad is X, Y, and Z. In hindsight, obviously you can reflect and be like, this is what it was then. But in the moment, it's amazing to me that you can still be kind of living two lives. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And still be able to, and still, God's grace, come out on the other side, on top, unscathed, because you mentioned before that you never went to prison. Everybody from Panama City had either gone to prison, but you never. And I was about to ask you, what was it about you? Yeah. What was it about your circumstances that didn't allow you to take that trajectory, take that path? And if that path would have been taken either for you by choice or by somebody else, what would you look like today? Would Marcus be Marcus today?
I don't think I would. I want to say that I was very intuitive and smart, and some of the same operational things that I have in place in business happened then. Also, grace of God. So you asked me a critical question. Did I feel conflicted? Yes. For this reason. It wasn't guilt I felt. It was literal conflict because both of those sides of me are me. You get what I'm saying? Like it took me a long.
Well, I challenge that you can relate to both sides, but you were still trying to find you.
I feel like all of it is me, right? Like, for instance, uh, I was the type of person that on my way to the club drinking would pray. My regimen of talking to God, reading the scriptures has been present with me for years. I felt like I had to know, and one thing I never doubted, I'm talking about my discernment. I would know. I'd be at a club and I would hear leave, I've learned to trust that voice inside myself. Well, how some people say, "Man, I just felt like God didn't love me when I was doing that." I always knew He loved me. Like, always.
But that's what I'm going back to. I felt like that's you.
Yeah.
It's always been you. That still shows up to you this day.
Yeah.
Just saw you speak at your mastermind. Great job, by the way,
man. Thank you.
That thing was different. But I really do think when you say I was praying to go to the clubs, and I got to clubs, my discernment would tell me to leave. You just could relate to that culture, that lifestyle of going to the club. That's not something that you grew up couldn't like wanting. I think more like you said, wanting to buy attention, wanting to get acceptance. It just looked like the club. It just looked like that. But that was the issue. The issue was wanting to be accepted for who you are. But you understood those cultures. You understood those lifestyles. You could relate to it because you from it.
Yeah. Right.
But that ain't what you identify as for you to be. You saying that I'm going to a club, bruh.
Yeah.
Anybody say they going to a club praying, bruh.
I think that's the conflict of me then and me now, right? So
maturity
I will say both was me.
Yeah, maturity plays a part in that.
You was in both places, but you was a part of both spaces. But it was obvious. Even if a police officer pulled you, would be like, "Bro, like what are you really doing, bro?"
I think it's hard for somebody to like.
I can't
to wrap their head around.
That, man.
Is he this or is he that? It's like I'm watching now a show called Godfather of Harlem. So when they watch Bumpy Johnson, they like he doing scholarships, but he's selling dope. His heart to serve people, but his heart to make money. So it's like, I do feel like both is me, bro.
But let me go back to be a devil's advocate. He needed to make money. The only vehicle he really knew that was viable was to sell dope.
Yeah,
but if he had another way to make money, just the same level as dope, he wouldn't. I would challenge the fact that he wouldn't choose dope.
Yeah,
a lot of guys choose.
That's
dope
coming for the black community.
For people that come to those communities,
for
sure.
That's all you know that will make you real legitimate money or fast money.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can't wait to get the bag. It just kind of you willing to take the risk of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I challenge that. You know, because I deal with that as insecurity. So I get that sometimes in your mind you thinking, I really want the streets. I really want that tough thug life. It's like, man, you want the attention, the girls, the camaraderie, the affection, but I don't know if you really want that part. And that's why people that even, when you say stuff, and when people see you and people hear you, like, bro, you always really on what you was on. Yeah. It's just that it wasn't a space for it to really reveal itself.
But there's a social component that comes with that in the black communities across the board. So when behaviors become normalized, if you have 9 out of the 10 guys in your circle that are trapping, that are selling drugs, then you're gonna acclimate to that environment just by virtue of proximity. Yeah. You know, the same could be said for the inverse. If you have 9 guys that are about their business, that are in church, the more you associate with people of like minds, you're gonna gravitate towards that environment. And I think that's what a lot of us, everybody's story is different, of course. A lot of us get caught up in that cycle of normalizing behaviors that just everybody does, and you just get accustomed to that. So the conflict comes in. You know your parents as a pastor. You know your dad expects you to be in church. You know what the expectation is for you. Yeah. But at the end of the day, because you're not fully immersed in that 24/7, 365. Your boys are probably out. You're probably hooping. They're selling drugs. They're drinking. All these normal things that normal men struggle with become a normal part of your daily routine. So I do, to a degree, understand where you say, both of those with me. If you listen to a lot of stuff around Tupac, and obviously I'm not trying to glorify him or that lifestyle, they say, this guy couldn't have been a person of the streets and then a poet and such an eloquent leader. And some people struggle with that. So I understand where you come from when you say, all of this was me. Because I believe everybody has different components of their lives that they gravitate towards, that they do, but there's still that good part about them that still drives them, that still wants them to do honorable things and wants them to do great things. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's only when you come into a space where you are now, as Marcus kind of different person. Because all of us, the journey of all of us have taken, we're like, all right, I can reflect and say, yes, those components made me who I am today, but I'm mature enough to know and spiritually more sound enough now to say, I want to put my life in this particular way. I know the life that I want my children to have and the message that I want to put in the community. We are now able to say, nah, that's not something I want to do.
Yeah.
So now you're putting your endeavors to more proactive things, as a pro-social things, as opposed to anti-social things.
Yeah.
So I receive what you're saying, bro. I do receive what you're saying.
Let me word it differently. I believe that inside of me is Marcus Y. Rosier and Money Mark. If it were a car, both are in the car, I just never let Money Mark drive.
Sure.
Right? Sure. So that some of those instinctive things, some of those times that I'm angry, mad, and how I want to respond when somebody's disrespectful, Money Mark's still in there. Right. Right. The discernment to where now, who do I invite to my crib versus at that time, that same discernment could have been a sentence. Yeah. So some of these elements of it, as well as I feel like in all of these different personality traits, character traits, social norms that we embrace, I did not have the discipline to become this version of myself. This version of me was in there then. I didn't have the discipline to become it. So I always tell people now, inside of all of us is Superman and Clark Kent. Yeah. But kryptonite hurts both. Sure. Kryptonite doesn't just hurt Superman, it also hurts Clark Kent. So inside of me, man, there are still moments that I realize that when I act out now, let's just say in my relationship, I need a certain level of celebration. I come from playing sports. I played ball all my life. Right. That version of me is still in there and still has certain core needs. My discipline now knows how to communicate that. One version of me wants to live a certain way, respond a certain way, want to be respected a certain way. My discipline, emotional intelligence, and all that has come with this evolution now supports a different level of who I am. But like me and you'll be talking, and people think you green because they see this version of you. And every once in a while, even with staff, you have to say, yo, that side of you that doesn't mind the smoke and confrontation is present. It's there, that pastor in me that's gracious and want to shepherd people is there, and I care about people. But that side of me that you're not going to chump me off, disrespect me, talk to me any type of way, and feel no type of way with confrontation, I don't never stay mad longer than it take to say, I don't like what you did. I ain't finna bite my tongue, right? That you see the difference of this dichotomy between the two and never allowing the inferior version of me to wreck the superior version of me.
And that's important for viewers to understand as well, because you got brothers out there that are conflicted, because the feeling like, similar to what you're saying, the feeling like, I want to be this better version of myself, but I'm getting pulled in this direction. And like you said, it's okay to know that you still got that in you, but you know that maturity, spirituality, your relationship with God allows your choice to be a lot different, because the lion's share of who you are now as a man is built off of the principles and the values and the spiritual values that you want to promote, as opposed to before, where you probably had that, but you was drawn, and your maturity and your choice was going to push you in this particular trajectory, in this particular pathway. And so our viewers, they're like, yo, that's me. I could feel it, because I too feel like, I'm trying to be a better me. I'm trying to do more. Yeah. I know that this path is going to take this way, but spiritual maturity and choice is go hand in hand.
Can I say something that might be helpful in that? We during that process of evolution for all of us, like we all are same boat, right? This constant journey that you mentioned. Yeah, it's easy to feel fake. So when you feel that way or that conflict, you start if you're a real man, you don't want to ever feel fake. That feeling is so just gross, where you feel like you're not being authentic, being yourself. That happens sometimes when you've left who you are, but you're not who you're becoming yet. So you're in the hallway between it, and it feels fake. It's like you feel more comfortable with people from your past than you feel like people in your future. So it's like, man, is this okay to say this? Is this okay to do this? And I want to say this to somebody that's watching. You have to visit what you're not until you become it. Yeah. Right? So it's not being fake to enter into a room that you're not yet. But the more you visit that, you're becoming and surrounding yourself
100%.
culturally around that
100%.
environment, and it's gonna feel like conflict. You're gonna feel not as comfortable with the people in your future as you do with the people in your past. That embrace, that's not fake.
Right.
That's shedding. That's that process that is necessary, and you gotta do it uncomfortable and keep visiting what you're not until you become it. If Crump is the type of man that I want to be, the type of husband I want to be, it don't make me fake to hang around him. It actually makes me authentic to be able to come around you and visit what I'm not.
And then it gets go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Coach Kendall says everything happens in the gap, and he was just talking about like one of his. And you kind of crystallized that, and what you express is that from compared to where you are, what you want, there's a gap right there. And he says all the tension, the frustration, the fighting, the bickering lies in the gap with yourself and with others, and the key is communication.
Wow.
More importantly, effective communication. As you're growing from where you are to where you want to be, the key to make sure that things stay on track on that journey is the communication and the effectiveness thereof. But I wanted to shift real quickly to, you mentioned a lot about, and Chizzy, you said this, the principles you learn as a man. But go back a little bit. We talked about a little about your boyhood in the sense of you learned so much at such a young age. You graduated from high school at 16. You had your own house at 19. Like, that's huge. Like, I don't know anybody else that had a house who's black from Florida, who came from where we came from. So when did you say, look in the mirror like, I'm a man? Like, when was that for you?
30.
30.
Yeah.
And why 30?
Man, it's so funny that this happened. So I did a thing, it's on YouTube. It's called The Day I Became a Man.
Okay.
I invited 5 friends of mine that knew me from different seasons of life. One was a pastor. One is my homeboy named Money, shout out to him, from back home. My boy Calvin, who played high school ball and went to college with me, so he remembered Daytona Black Beach weekend.
Hey.
Right, he knew that guy.
Man, let's stay focused.
right. You see, I'm talking that real stuff on here. I asked, how real can I keep it?
Listen, man.
Right?
College
Keep it
weekend
on to me,
People get on podcasts and cap.
He never experienced college weekend Daytona.
Yeah, that thing different.
Best I got was Freaknik
BT.
in Atlanta.
Yeah. So,
BT Spring Bling, all that stuff. Like,
man,
what?
Can we just have a moment, man? Like, bro, just
Man of God.
listen, just to give people a visual, like just imagine miles of parking lot pimping.
Yeah.
Out on A1A, and it's just cars, music, girls, and they're wearing bathing suits. for the most
Everybody
part.
with no clothes on.
And it's miles though. It's not
right.
blocks. And the police are just in the median, just like
Chilling.
ain't bothered.
Just make sure nothing extreme happens.
Nothing extreme, but the music and the laughter and the joking and the smoke, like they
ain't watching it.
It's too much.
Right.
It's thousands of people out here. Like they're not finna. But it's like, yeah, that was a time.
Yeah.
That was a continue.
All right.
Right. So imagine having your homeboy that was there with you during that season of college and FAMU and
BCC.
right? Homecomings.
Homecoming
and you
in
wilding.
Orlando.
You got your other homeboy that grew up in the neighborhood with you. I've got my friend that's a pastor.
Hold on, time out. Last time. Wildcat or Rattler?
Man, I would say more Rattler. I grew up right.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
Continue.
right there. Yeah.
So just for those, shout out to our
I'm a
HBCU.
Florida State guy too. Yeah, Florida State.
Florida Gator.
Yeah,
Gator.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna show you the Gators in the
Because you're
living room.
Central Florida.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. In Florida, like you got historical black college team.
Yeah.
And in Florida, you either Florida State, Hurricane, or you're a Gator.
Depending on where you at, right?
Depending on where you grew up at. He's in the Panhandle, so he's Seminole.
My brother went to FAMU, so by default I had to take the Rattlers too.
Nobody's
you know what
perfect,
I'm
bro.
saying?
Anyway, continue.
You know, baddest band in the land. You know what I'm saying? But, to that point, we did a thing called The Day I Became a Man, where I invited them, I paid and rented a room, and we just filmed it. It's crazy because it's on YouTube. And we were just having a conversation about manhood and something about me, stigma of when you turn 30, you're a man, et cetera. And I finally made a commitment to God, like to fully embrace my calling. And I kept begging God to, if you show me my purpose, I'll clock in the purpose and never clock out. Right? Like I always was that guy that was embarrassed when people asked me what you do for a living. So I would lead a room. I was never comfortable in my skin with that. So it was during that journey from 30 to about 33. Like in that one, man, it's crazy. That window of time, dang, it's crazy, right? That window of time that I really feel like God answered the prayer and started showing me who I am, my gift. I never saw myself. I feel like around that time, God finally let me see me. And in a private moment of devotion with God, I asked why. He said, if I would have showed you sooner, you would have been arrogant. Because I was extremely gifted, man. Like, even now, my strongest gift, my cognition, I can see something once, remember it forever. I can remember large sums of information. Like, if I read the Bible, I memorize, like, I could tell you what's in what chapter. What's in Matthew 1, genealogy, Matthew 2, tell you John 1, John 2. I can see it and never have to visit it. If I write something down, I'll never forget it. So
photographic memory, maybe.
Yeah, like, it's strange. So going up in school was the same. I never had to study.
So that's why you graduated early?
Yeah, like everything is memorization except math. When you really think about it, math is the only thing that's not memorization. Everything else is.
Yeah.
So English and all these type of subjects, hold on, the teacher gonna teach it to me. She gonna give me a review of it, and then it's multiple choice, so I get to see it again and jog my memory.
No brainer, right?
You know, so during those years, he started showing me like, yo, here is your real gift. People think your gift is communication. Your gift isn't communication. I've given you what you prayed for as a kid. Your gift is the gift of wisdom and spiritual discernment. Communication is just a vehicle to serve people with that, right? So I thought it was that. You start learning about yourself, what you're inclined to do. Hey, like all these different areas. So I remember looking in the mirror. I moved to Atlanta, and I'm looking in the mirror, and that's that moment, and it's crazy. But I said, I'm gonna take this serious. I really want to get really good at communication.
And when did you move to Atlanta?
I moved to Atlanta 2014.
Okay.
December 24. I remember like it was just December 2014. I was nervous. I always wanted to live in Atlanta. I was in Tallahassee at the time working at Florida State University. And I made a commitment to me and God, like, yo.
And that was at 30, 2014. That was around about 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Around that age.
Yep. Yeah. Right around, like I think I was just turning 30. Wanted to be in it, or right around it. Wanted to be here, wanted to build a speaking career, write books, all this kind of stuff. Had so many near-death experiences from guns pulled, trigger jam, got hit on a motorcycle, like knocked in the air, like so many times, so many near-death experiences. Around 30-ish was when the week I moved here, I got in a bad car accident. Somebody hit me into a flatbed truck, neck brace, fractured wrist. If you injure your lower back, I don't think people get it. It hurts to lay down. It hurts to stand up. You're talking about your core. So laying down hurts. Standing up, I had a pinched nerve so where it would hit like on my hamstrings to where it felt like I lost feeling in my legs. Every so often. So like I couldn't stand too long. I couldn't lay down too long. Getting up hurt. Like I don't think nobody gets what that feels like. For 5-6 months, hurting to lay down, hurting to stand up, to get out of the bed hurts. Like you literally can't get comfortable. Coming out of that, made a commitment to myself, man, when this brace come off, I'm going to do everything I promised myself I was going to do, that the version of me that was a master procrastinator always made me abort. I would always say I'm going to do something, not do it. Couldn't keep my word to myself. Right? And that's part of what I teach people now.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a challenge for a lot of people, though.
Oh, my God.
I remember we was having a prayer call, and it was like, man, you know, what's the one advice? What's the one thing you would say to yourself? One thing that you want to say, hey, I was like, man, follow my own advice. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, like, I done gave so much advice to other people. It's like, if I just follow my own advice, I'd be all right. I don't even need another video, movie, workshop. If I would just follow the things that I already know to be true and that I should be doing, my life will improve drastically.
And we talk about that a lot. Just even doing this, how this is cathartic for us as well.
Yeah.
So as much as we're here, you know, claiming to talk and be in a space where we're developing ourselves, a lot of this is for our own personal development. Like you said, follow your own advice, and building who you are. Sorry, continue, brother.
No, you don't. No apology at all. Like, if I can give advice to how I rewired it, I teach it now, but at the time I didn't know how to teach it. I was living it. Couple different principles to change my life. It's learning those elements of what's inside of us. So I call it E3. Inside of all of us is an educator, an executor, and an examiner, right? The educator is the part of us that writes a to-do list. Okay. Need to do this, want to do this, need to wash the car, need to go to the gym. That's the part of you that educates you on, man, I need to get back in the gym. Man, I need to eat healthier. That's the part that informs you based on your self-ideal of what you picture that you're supposed to do. Man, I need to save money. Your self-ideal told you this isn't enough money. That's the image in your head of what perfect looks like. And when you get beneath that standard, the educator says, that's different for everybody. Some people can care less. Right? So the educator informs you about you of what is your standard. When you fall beneath that, bro, you got to get right. That ain't right how you spoke to them. You need to apologize. That's the educator. But the educator does no work. So the other part of you is the executor. It's the part of you that takes action on what you're educated on what you need to do.
I like that.
The educator says, man, I need to go to the gym. The executor says, grab your shoes, man, and look up some workouts and go. Educator says, man, you need to spend time with your wife. The executor says, babe, block your calendar for Thursday.
Have a date night.
Educator says, man, I need to create a course. Executor says, man, let me start writing down the outline of this course.
Sure.
The examiner examines the work once it's done to determine, was it to the level of your standard, or did you do it just to feel good about doing it, or was it your best? Sure. These parts of us, if we can channel it, most people are heavy on the educator and make excuses of why the executor can't come out to play.
Facts.
He does it all the time.
You know, it's like, Mo, I know I need to do it, and the empowerment within them is feeling good about talking about doing it.
Yeah.
Or they do it, and the examiner isn't honest to say that ain't your best. So here's the thing I tell people, bro, if your goal is to be number one, all you got to do is be a second faster than someone else. You don't want to be number one, you want to be first. Because first is you blazing a path based on what you can do. So what if I'm number one because I've got a 90B, let's use school example, but my potential is an A. That the examiner got to be honest with you to say, bro, you did it.
Come on.
You went to the gym, but you was on your phone. You was there for 2 hours when it could have been 30 minutes if you was focused.
Yeah, I say it this way. I said participation don't mean progress.
Woo.
You know what I mean? So like you at the gym.
I'm writing that down.
You know what I'm saying? You at the gym. You at Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
But the weights is there. But you gotta go ahead and work them. You come into the gym. I have kids coming to the gym. I was in the basketball trip. They coming in with Crocs and they doing jellies. You know what I mean? I'm like, you ain't getting no better, bro. Like you got no. Yeah, I've been in the gym 2 hours. I was in the gym. Where you been? I've been in the gym. Come see them in the game when it's pressure, when it's time to produce, when it's time to get results, when you're going against competition. What have you been doing? You say you go to the gym every day, right?
Yeah.
When I said, man, sometimes people think motivational speakers are on stage, but I was working out with Jeremy, but I wasn't really working out, but I was working out. But like, I was like taking days off. You know, I had stuff going on at home. I can't make it. So Jeremy keep telling these guys like, yo, bro, you know, me and Crump, we in the gym every day. So his cousin Crystal, she's like, man, you and Jeremy go to the gym every day? She's like, yeah. She was like, I could tell he go to the gym.
That cut deep, bro.
Bro, that woman is in my head every single day. I'm like, the level of disrespect.
She probably didn't even mean it.
No, she meant it, bro.
Shots fired.
Bro, she was like, I can really tell Jeremy goes to the gym, but
I don't know, bro.
I was like, what? What? Bro.
That's funny.
Bro.
I mean, it's real though.
No, but it's real because somebody been in the gym for real. You ain't even got to ask. Yeah. And some people could tell you they've been in the gym. You like, you been in the gym?
You sure? What you the janitor?
You been cleaning up in that mug? Like, and some people say, I've been going to church or I've been working on my relationship. Like, your behavior, your results don't really...
Yeah, it works in every facet of your life.
So don't confuse participation with progress, bro. Like,
that's so good.
That's different,
That's so good. Hey, listen, you thought I was joking.
You wrote that down?
What?
Yeah. But that's real because it's like when I see my son, he like, you know, when you're trying to achieve something that you achieve, you try to achieve what other people, when they ask you, what they really don't understand is how hard it is. So my son's, Dad, man, I heard you, man, I want to go? I want to be able to be this type of basketball. I said, son, I was obsessed. Like, you can't play, you got to be obsessed. You can't practice, you got to be obsessed. Like, I was obsessed for an extended period of time. I'm talking about years, bro. Like, you know what comes... I don't even have to talk about sacrifice and commitment because it comes with obsession.
For sure.
I got to bring up all these other things because you're not obsessed. So it's like when you're obsessed with getting results, a lot of attributes come with that.
Yeah, nobody gonna tell you
I ain't
nothing.
got to break down nothing.
Yeah.
The reason why I got to break down stuff because you telling me what you want. I've seen what it looks like. And I'm looking at you. I'm like, you
You're
sus,
suspect.
right? This is sus. And
yeah.
all of this is sus energy right now. Yeah. So it's like, I get it when you talk about you doing that now, you showing other people and trying to give them framework with the E3 and other things so them to really see themselves because that's the biggest lie people tell themselves, right?
What a development, right? So I couldn't teach E3 until I committed to a process, and my team keeps telling me to bring it back. So my first book was called Win the Day, and it's not to talk about the book. It's more about the process that I locked in. October 10th, 2010, I'll never forget it. My birthday is May 17th, but I actually celebrate October 10th as my purpose birthday. I celebrate that over my birthday. That's the day I came alive, right? This year makes, October 10th, 2010. So, man, it's been over a decade of like committed to something. But here's the point. At the time that I embraced this journey, I'm 2014. I'm here. I'm broke. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to make money happen. I had my house that as soon as I got here, I'm thinking the guy's going to rent it out. He moved into my house, lost his job, and then it took me 6-7 months to kick him out. So I'm paying my mortgage at home. I'm excited. Like, okay, that's going to be taken care of. I got somebody to pay me rent every month and take some of that money and pay for my place here in Atlanta. Nope. Get in a car accident, can't get a job. He's doing that. So 2010, man, what happened was once I figured out communication, the only issue was I wasn't very good at it, right? So imagine knowing something you're passionate about, something you enjoyed. It feels good when you do it, but you're not very good at it. So
that's like me talking to my wife. Dang.
So that process I embraced.
Keep working at it, bro. Keep working at it.
This biblical principle that I know for a fact God gave me, I call it Win the Day, and one of my education company is called Win the Day Marketing Group.
Okay.
The idea was I had no money. I'm mad that I'm broke, and I'm asking God, like, yo, how you let Money Mark go broke?
Man, Money Mark, you got no
How you
bread.
let Money Mark
You gotta
go
change
broke?
your first name.
Right. And I heard something.
Pity Pritz.
Yo.
Repo Rosier.
Now that's a good one. Yo. Not bottle boys, bro boys. Yo.
Broke boys, they on fire. Yeah.
Now I know you from Florida. Now I know you from
I
Florida.
don't know what you're talking.
See, he don't know about he don't know that Cash Money was taken over for the
2000.
Okay, all right.
Man. But the principle, the principle was, in short, man, I didn't have any money, and where I'm from, if you like from church, you need money, you pay tithe. Well, I ain't had no money. I had $11.37 in a Regions Bank account, and I heard God clearly. However you hear him, some may say you don't, but I know it wasn't a voice within myself said that I ever asked for your money. Give me the tithe of your time, and I'll make you wealthy. It made no sense to me. This is September when I heard it. The concept doesn't happen until October 6th. I commit to start on October 10th. And the idea was, without money, to give every day, and this is what I did. Money was important to me. I took 24 hours and I turned every hour and make it worth $100 because I was a master procrastinator. So to evolve and become a different version of myself, I literally started tracking the time like I track money. Whole day is worth $2,400. Every hour is worth $100. I promised God that I would give him 10% of the day to the gift he gave me, communication. Changed my life. Wow. I would give him the tithe of the day every single day, and anything less, because I was a basketball guy, and I lost the day. And I called it Win the Day. I tracked it every single day. So now you're saying out of $2,400, $240 belong to my gift. I said, I'm going to pay my gift $240 every single day. That was how it started.
So just make sure practically I'm not losing.
Right.
You're paying $240 to your tithes, or you're
To
paying
myself. No
to
money.
yourself?
There's no money in this. I don't have no money. I promise God that every single day, and I still make that commitment, that I'm going to give him the tithe of my time to the gift he gave me. Because most people tithe money, but they don't tithe time. So now I'm giving money is easier than giving yourself. I committed myself to say, if you gave me communication, I'm not good at it. If this is the gift you gave me, now that you showed me, and I promise you, if you show me my gift, how do I actually develop this? How do I stop being a procrastinator? How do I do these
So
things?
what does that?
I was gonna say, what does that look like
like?
practically,
so
physically?
if we use the money example, $240 / 2 hours and 40 minutes, I was working at the time, but right before this, 30 minutes of that on my lunch break, right? So I started logging it the same way you would log your money. If you ain't got but $240, when you broke, right? So I would, in advance, I'll tell you very in practicality. First thing in the morning, I would have these index cards that I still keep, and I would write words down because I wanted to learn how to organize a speech in my head. So I write one word, put a timer on my phone, and stand in the mirror and practice creating an introduction, an outline, and a close. I would watch the news, and I would mute the television and pretend they were interviewing me. So I can take any question you ask, and if you notice, I don't say ums, uhs, there's no redundancies in my communication. Well, that was during that time. I wanted to eliminate all redundancies. I wanted to speak in concept that if someone asked me something, I would number it or frame it so the listener could remember it. I studied news reporters to see how do they create cadence. I studied comedians to figure out how do they transition from joke to joke. When a preacher is excited, he raises his voice. When an actor is excited, they lower their tone and drive an emotion. Yeah. I studied everything you could think about communication because I want to develop it. That's what I mean.
My
right?
goodness.
So every single day, if a news reporter came in, it's cadence, voice inflection. Coming back after the hour, we will be back with fast, slow, up, down. So the same way you write punctuation, I wanted to learn how to speak with punctuation. Sure. Communication was the thing he gave me, so that's what it looked like. I would literally create an outline for myself, and I would schedule it and pay myself. Like, if you got a light bill to $70, well, I had redundancies that was $50. Like, and it sounds weird, but I tracked it on an Excel sheet. I'm working at Florida State. I was used to Excels. I wanted to see at the end of a year a P&L how much my gift was worth.
My goodness.
I know nobody but God gave me that. And I promised him the tithe of my time to the gift he gave me. This was October 10, 2010. I didn't write a book until July 15. 5 years of living it out, I proved to me and I killed that version of me that procrastinated. Yeah. I wrote that book in 10 days. How? 2 hours and 40 minutes every day, one chapter a day. 10 days later, I won't win the day. One day I wrote the Heart Diary. In 3 days, I wrote Cuffing Season. You can look these books up. Wrote Cuffing Season. I wrote a book called Can I Keep It 100? Your Journey to an Authentic Life, 14 days. I wrote 23 books in 3.5 months using this principle. Wow. I created five coaching programs and 3 audio albums. Right? You can look up these audio albums on Spotify, iTunes. That concept created so much distance between who I was and who I became. In 1 year, I did all that. In 3.5 months, wrote 23 books. In 1 year, 5 coaching programs, 3 audio albums. By 2016, I'm in 30 countries speaking all over the world. The speed that you get. So now, like that concept, my business is called that. Win the Day Marketing Group. It reminds me of, to this day, I still do it. No less than 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now I do way more than that. Where I'm going to every day pay me what I expect people to pay me. So now when you ask me, man, how'd you become a multimillionaire? Because my gift became worth millions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So now you go through that process, man. Thank you for sharing that. I've never heard.
I'm still spun by this whole process. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
Because you're an exceptional thinker.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how do you translate to a layman?
Yeah.
Like I don't consider myself a layman, but I'm gonna be a layman for all intents and purposes. How does that translate?
I mean, I consider you kind of lame, but I mean,
okay, cool, that's fine. I'm humbled by that. I appreciate that. How does an individual who's just a regular layman translate that? Because that's high functioning in my mind.
Yeah.
That's not the average. Average person can't function at that.
That's my real gift.
You know what I'm saying? Are you able to translate?
100%.
Great.
That's what made my business take off. I used to take the concept of Win the Day and teach corporations how to force your staff into a dedicated 2 hours and 40 minutes. And they found that they got more done with the focus of a 2 hour and 40 minute commitment of work that they log it than the 8 hours. So to a layman, let's use sports. Bro, if you were going in to do sports, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to put up 1,000 jump shots and I'm going to work on shooting off the dribble. But it's the same that I did with communication. Right. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work on biceps and triceps, that's a focus of what you're going to work on. Sure. Right? Sure. So if I would say to someone, here's how I explain it when I would speak to organizations or if I would speak to moms in a community. You take the most important thing in your life and you take just 2 hours and 40 minutes and you say, this is the commitment to that. So if you say being a mom is the most important, 30 minutes to the kids, 30 minutes to my husband, 30 minutes to my health. See, you start with the focus of what is most important to you, and now you just log it.
Right.
You start logging it to start tracking and say, man, I'm saying that these 3 to 5 things are the most important, but it gets the least amount of me.
Right.
That's what I decided to do.
Okay.
Right. So to any layman person, you say in advance, just look at, here's what I started doing and my friends would get mad. I used to say, if I wouldn't give you $50, I won't give you 30 minutes. Because I literally started seeing an hour as $100 for easy math. Hey, bro, you want to come do this, this? If I wouldn't pay you $100 to go to it, I'm not going to give you an hour to go to it.
But I think it helps you to focus on what's important for that time of year. See, until you right your ship, and then once you kind of like, okay, I'm in my bag, I got this discretionary time.
Then you can do it.
Yeah.
You created distance. Yeah. So you like that. What I'm saying right now, it was the thing that changed. It literally killed a version of me.
Yeah, and I can see why us asking these questions would trigger you so much. Man, I haven't even talked about this guy for so long because
it's a whole nother person.
You spent so much time writing 30 books and courses and building community. Like, you're so far removed from that. You know what I mean? And it's funny. I have a similar feel when somebody brings up basketball. It's so far removed from my mind, like personal basketball. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, you know, that 15 years ago, like, I'm so far removed. And they would remember that time you did this? I'm like, and like, now I'm like, the conversation's gonna be like this? Like, I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm so far removed from that. That's not even my thing that gets me going every day. Like, I get it from that perspective, but I want to make another pivot in the conversation. All right, so we kind of get this journey of how you got to where you are now.
Yeah.
You kind of define like, hey, moved to Atlanta 30, and then I did this incredible 10th of a time to God when you saw how much money was in your bank account. Now, or have you considered when, like, you become a king and who you are, and how you operate, or are you saying, look, I'm still a man? Like where's your kingship? In this?
I feel like I just embraced it later part of last year, earlier this year.
And what does it look like for you?
My self-awareness is, I think, I'm as good as I've ever been in terms of self-awareness. I embrace an emotional side of me that was suppressed. The way in which I relate to the people around me, the way I lead. I was a great worker. I wasn't a great leader. And I realized in order to become, if we use the term king, can't become king if you are, or if you're not able to empower someone else, right?
Yeah, that's the big difference, right? The man is about you. The king is about everybody else.
Yeah. In a kingdom, your association that validates your kingdom is not the title or you. It's how the people in your kingdom look, right? So if any person in the kingdom is a reflection of you, so if they are not empowered, I can say I haven't just produced fruit. I've planted trees. So I've helped other people become wealthy. I've helped other people. And when I say wealth, my definition of wealth is the ability to do what you love and help the people you love without wondering, can you afford it? Right. So I've helped other people get to that place. I've kept my word to myself and the people around me. When I met my wife, I said, hey, I'm not going to waste your time. I gave her a cutoff date in the first month. Hey, within 10 months, this is the date. If we haven't figured out where we want to go with this, I won't waste your time. So I do want to say, it won't be rude. We'll part ways by this date. Clearly defined. I do that in company. I don't waste nobody's time. Straightforward. So looking at what I do with church, embracing, I feel like God has a purpose, a plan, and a will. We have a will, a purpose, and a plan. The goal is to surrender our will, figure out his purpose, and follow his plan. Then you're a king. Why? Because a king has now knighted you as king. So I feel like I am functioning in the thought that God had in mind when he decided to put me in my father's body, release me to my mother's womb, and birth me in the time. I'm there. I'm still evolving. I've got great people around me. And I'm not just saying it's honored to, like, we're connected now, but like, man, you've been such a blessing to that process. That added piece was y'all can hear me and tell I'm super organized. Like, I mean, I am.
I was gonna ask you, like, how does that translate into personal relationships and all that type of stuff? But that's
so like
yeah.
regimented, timelines, systems on everything.
Yeah.
You exposed to me, hey, bro, everything in your kingdom is good except you're not being that to your woman.
Yeah.
Intentional time, putting this in place, thinking through things, lending myself to listen to stuff that does not entertain me, I'm not interested in, but it matters.
Yeah.
Right? Right? So,
Preach, preacher.
right. And scoring myself. So if I can say this last thing, bro, certain things don't come natural to me. I'm more logical than emotional. So I have to plan. I have to plan the version of me that isn't natural. So I'll plan one of the things that's on my calendar right now. Siri will go off and say, remind me when I leave from, and I put your address in to call such and such. Some would say that's disingenuous. No, it actually is caring about them because it's not natural to me to call and have conversations that don't have something to it. So just let somebody vent. It's not like, oh my God.
I mean, the good thing is you have a process to shed parts of you that you no longer, let me say, you wish to have.
Yeah.
So you use that in developing this person you are now. Yeah. So I would like to imagine you could probably do the same thing emotionally and try to, I don't know if you have or you haven't.
I'm trying. And so it takes me to, and I didn't want to cut you off, it takes me to my main point of how I score myself to that kingship. Like you can't say you're a king without there being some KPIs.
Come on.
So I'm doing well based on what standard, right? I'm averaging 10. Well, people's averaging 30 in the league, right? So mine is in the morning on my mirror, and my wife and we adopt this as a family. We call it the Rosier Core 4, right? It's our mission statement. It's as a CEO, is how I filter everything. So the 4 things we say, and then I ask myself at night, and I score it based on the week, right? It's in my phone, and I'll show it so you know I ain't capping. It's called Daily Notes. So it's number 1, what pleases God. Well, it's a filter of that. What pleases God has like these filters underneath that. For us, it is in terms of where we guard and guide our intentions and our attention. What was my intention for the day, and where was my attention? Number 2, what I'm gifted at and love doing. I don't want to do the things that I'm gifted at if I don't love doing it and be disingenuous. Right. Number 3, what helps people, and number 4, what pays me well. So in the morning, we do it as a statement and a prayer, me and my wife, and at night, I ask myself the question, did I do what pleased God? Did I do what I'm gifted at and love doing? Did I do what help people? Did I do what pay me well? Well, if I could do that every day and live up to that, and I can go 7-0 on the week, and I score the week.
Stand in your pocket.
Sweet.
Am I 4-3? Am I 5-2? And I teach this to clients. Create your core 4, the core mission. So my filter, if you ask me a business opportunity, it got to pass through that filter. Does this please God? Is this what I'm gifted at and love doing? Does it help people? Does it pay me well? Paying me well is last on the list. So now I have a filter as a king to determine what decree.
Man, listen, on that note, I'm scared to even ask. But what is a final, takeaway you want to leave with the people based on everything that we shared? Is there anything on your heart you want to leave the people with?
I'll use a sports analogy. I would say that we're in 2023 at the time of this recording. The most important thing that we can all do is stop playing away games. What do I mean by away games? I was in Miami some time ago to watch LeBron play Miami Heat. Week before that, I was watching Miami play Charlotte, and it was empty. You can sit wherever you want. Right. I realized that the stands was packed with people that were there to see LeBron's talent but wanted LeBron to lose. An away game is where you take all of your life and you're trying to perform in front of people that love your talent, but they don't want you to win. If we're going to be successful, if we're going to progress our life forward, we got to stop playing away games. Stop taking our talent to perform in front of people that love to watch us perform, but secretly want us to lose. And number 2, create an internal scoreboard, because you can be winning and not know it. So what for you tells you whether you've scored, whether you've won. For me, if I'm not a good father, if I'm not a good husband, if I'm not a good friend, it doesn't matter what the internet say. Why? They're probably watching a pre-recorded version of me that my editing team edited. Right. But if my daughter and my future son does not well up in tears and say, my daddy was this, if Crump, my man, can't vouch for me in a room I'm not in, that means I got the wrong scoreboard, bro. My scoreboard is not followers. My scoreboard is not money.
Yeah.
My scoreboard is based on my core four, and everybody
100%.
needs that.
Facts.
Yeah, man. Well, look, it's a great episode. Man King. Man, I think this is gonna be fire.
This is gonna be fire.
And listen, man, the journey
Continue.
continues,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Tap in, and we out, man.
Peace.
Have a good one.